If you have any questions, one or two, we can just take that very quickly before I cede the microphone to Usha. Does anybody want to knock me off my feet with a question? Please, I'm tired of standing. Any question? If you don't have one for me, I will have one for you. And it's going to be a random question. Random question. I even prefer me having to do like the guesswork to choose that person that I will ask a question. So you guys have 5 seconds more to ask me a question, or else I would ask mine and it's going to be random. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. The lady in glasses, can you answer a question for me? Okay, let's just have a conversation. What's one thing that you feel is difficult for you to do? Like you've tried, but you feel it's difficult. Then tell me how far you tried.
In what aspect particularly?
Any aspect. It could be life, it could even be relationship, dating. Are you dating?
No.
Is dating allowed in this school? It's just a question. Dating is allowed, right? Trust me, like for those of you that don't necessarily do dating stuff, I'm not saying like you should date, but you can just target like, okay, this person, okay, for future purpose. Now is the place. You don't want to get out of school and you are now so confused. You don't necessarily know the people that you are hanging out with. You don't know who you are dealing with. So you can start that likeness process, then you formalize it later. Don't wait till you are 35 and you are still confused. Who am I going to get married to? Or maybe you are 40 years old and you're like, all the girls for Bingham, we are for married that time, they don't graduate. So yeah, go ahead.
In most situations, I find it hard to make friends, and even though I do, I find it hard to keep them.
Why do you think that's the case?
Okay. When I was growing up,
okay.
I let's say I grew up in an environment where I couldn't make friends. My parents didn't allow us to make friends. We're always like locked out from the house. And then it was so bad to the extent that we might be in our neighbor's house and then we had already, mastered the sound of our father's engine. So when his car is coming, we are running back to the house because when they find us outside the house, they like beat us and stuff. So the only time we find the opportunity to like relate with people is either in school or at church. So there were these 3 sets of girls. In this high school situation, there are always these 3 girls that are best friends, and so in church there are these 3 friends that I saw and like I really wanted to be their friend. And then I was always like coming to talk to them, and when they were like gisting, I always found myself in the situation trying to like teaching 1 or 2. And then there was a particular time when one girl told me that my face looked like shit, and then. After that time, I just told myself, I'm done. I'm done with the aspect of making friends. I'm done with all that. And then when I came into the university system, I met really good people. But like to some extent, I just find it hard to like keep them because one situation or the other, we always fall out. And even when we even try, or I try to like, okay, I know I messed up, or you messed up, I try to be the bigger person, apologize on your behalf. And like, let me just forget what you did and stuff. It just never works out. And then I just tend to lose a lot of people at the end.
Hold on. Or should you take another question? Oh, okay. I was outside.
So I'm the one asking. I think you already do good with making friends. Like you reach out to people, you engage. I'm not necessarily, if you ask my wife now if I have friends, like, the way guys have friends, right? Like, you may not talk to somebody for 5 years, but the person is your friend. That's how it is for a lot of guys. Like I have friends across the world, and any day I call them or they call me, the friendship continues from that day. Like we don't necessarily have to be talking all the time and gisting all the time, but we know that we got each other's back, right? So that's how it is for most guys. I don't know if I'm, yeah, like we don't really. How many guys want to be chit chatting? No, but what I would say basically is you can begin to gravitate towards people that have like a similar direction in life like yourself. If, for example, maybe you are thinking of, I would like to own like a fintech app, for example, you may start making friends with tech people, maybe guys in the tech space. I know a lot of people here might be into tech and all that here. You may start making friends with people like that. But at the end of the day, like, the only thing I know about making friends is that you have to show yourself friendly. And there's really no point. If you have to beg people to be your friends, then what's the point? There's no point. You move on. So moving on from people that necessarily don't have that same staying power as you, I think it's not a bad thing at all. And with time, you would find the people that stick. But the reality in life basically is that you may never have too many friends in your lifetime. Does it make sense? It's just the truth. You may never have too many friends in your entire lifetime. You may never have too many friends. You know, just like David and, what's this other guy's name? Jonathan. I know you guys you're in a Christian school, so you know all these Bible scriptures a whole lot. I even almost heard somebody, you're speaking in tongues, right? You know, so you won't have too many friends in life. But if you want to go on a journey of friendship, let it be friendship that counts towards something that is impactful. Let it make sense. Not just friends that maybe you are talking about the next Korean movie that is out there and all that. You guys are feeling mushy on all those Korean models that act those movies and all that. You know, that's not the point. I don't think that's the point of friendship. If you look at the friendship between Donald Trump, for example, and Elon Musk, I know that they are still going to fight a lot, but the fact is that it's quality, right? I helped you become president. I use my platform to spread a lot of information and misinformation. And at the end of the day, you are president. You know, it's a good thing, like having the president as your friend. So please, just have a big picture of what you want to achieve and look for people that have that similar mindset that are going on the same journey with you. You know, I don't know. I don't know if I've answered your question. So one last, anybody else?
Good morning. Sorry, I wanted to ask, in your life, you've had a lot of ups and downs. So, during your down moment, what was your motivation? Because you seem to have a lot of energy, joy. I'm serious. I just need to know your motivation whenever things don't work out for you.
Okay, I'll share one of my downs with you. I'll share two downs. The first major down that I had was when I was doing my master's, right? I had this girlfriend. I was so confident in myself that, as in I know book, I'm too much. And we're writing our dissertation. A dissertation that should have taken me 10 weeks to write. I wrote mine in like 2.5 weeks. And I was done. I was feeling like, man, I'm just cool. I dropped my dissertation. Then we picked her own and spent the next 7.5 weeks writing her dissertation. Don't forget that I used 2.5 weeks to write my own. And guess what? When the result came out, right? She passed. And I failed. Yeah. So that was like a mega down for me. Like, I failed, man. It's a terrible. It's just like you are looking at somebody that failed his dissertation because of a babe. Like I was chasing babe affairs and all that. I didn't focus on what was really important. And I had that experience. And I called my boss, the guy who sponsored my master's. Can you imagine how that call would have gone? Somebody spent all that money, sent me to the UK to go and study. Instead of studying, I was relating in relationship and all of those things. And he was like, he said, what are your options? I told him, they said, I can either graduate with a postgraduate diploma or I can rewrite the dissertation and I must submit it within 4 weeks. 4 weeks, right? If I could do 2.5, that means I can also do 4. So I now said, okay, I would rewrite the dissertation. So they now give me like another 2 months. They said, the first one that you wrote, don't even look at that one that you wrote before. If we notice that there is any similarity, because the thought process in that work is very faulty, you have to start all over. I started all over. I wrote the dissertation again, and the thought process, failure responds to you the way you respond to failure. That's just what I think. Did I cry? Yes. I even called my mother back in Nigeria. My mother prays a lot. I said, please be praying for me so that they can change this 40 that they give. Let them just add 10 and make it 50. Let me graduate. She called a pastor of hers. The guy called me on phone. He was like, don't worry, your school, we are going to pray. Your school, you are graduating in the name of Jesus. You are graduating in the name of Rakata. They did all, they prayed. After they prayed, I didn't graduate. So my boss told me, he said, you can do it. He said, let me know when you pass this next attempt that they give you. And he's somebody that his words are powerful to me. Do you understand? So you might need to have people in your life that speak into you. There are times that I feel down. In fact, there was some things that happened to me recently, like last year. I was so down. It's like I lost purpose in life. I lost focus. I just felt like I wasn't really looking to become anything or to achieve anything. I was in a bad place. Some nights I will wake up, my wife is sleeping, I'll be crying, shedding tears of pain. So it's cool to cry. Do you understand? Like, it's okay to cry. Sometimes you even need to cry sometimes. You know, so when you go right down, you must also get to a point where you can feel joy, because it's really that joy that propels you. That joy, but people use pain differently. Some people, pain can be the reason why they step up their game and they become better. Just to answer you, I'll tell a story of somebody who felt terrible pain. There's this lady, she's on Shark Tank. Her name is Barbara Corcoran. You can check her out. She goes into a bar. That's the last story I'll share, sorry. She goes into a bar. She meets a guy. She's from a very poor family, and she pitches to the guy that she needs like a startup fund of $1,000 for her to start her business. The guy says, okay, I can give you that money. He gives her the money. After a while, they start dating. They start a company together. They are partners in the company, and the company is doing quite well. Then she hires a secretary. 7 years into their relationship, the guy marries her secretary. Barbara goes through the entire season, and she has to check out of that company. Then she starts the Concurrent Group. It's a multi-billion-dollar establishment now. This was somebody who may not have even dreamt of millions in dollars. She's a billionaire currently. Because of she was able to use pain positively and sit from that particular point to a point where you feel confident to try again. There's nothing wrong in having to try over and over and over. The only thing I feel that nobody should try over and over again is relationship. There's no point. Why do you want to date? You have a history of 20 dates, and it doesn't make sense. Before you launch out into the deep, you have to open your eyes, you watch very carefully and all that. And I know that with your own determination, right? Because it's still an inside job. It's still here. You can trick yourself here to push yourself forward. I do that a lot. It's not like I'm no superstar on anything. But sometimes I just need a script, like a little script. Just give me a script and I'm good to go. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to speak to you guys. I don't take it for granted. I'm very grateful. I would like to invite Usha. Am I inviting you? Or let me invite Juliana to just do her stuff. Juliana is like my mentor, I learn a lot from her, All the big things I've ever done in my life came from her mind. Sincerely. Came from her mind. So, this is no relationship talk, but ladies, you have a lot of work to do. These men that you are seeing around here, many of us, we are just happy people.